Welcome back to another episode of ReWilding for Women, where we share practices and insights around full empowerment of self, opening up to the fullness that we are. I'm your host, Sabrina Lynn, and if you're not already a member of ReWilding, head over to our website, rewildingforwomen.com, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the special offers that we send out to members only. All right, this episode is episode number 7, and it's an intense one with some depth, and it might be a bit challenging. Yeah, I'm going to preface that with it might be a bit challenging and it might be a bit in your face, this particular episode. So the title of this episode is Your Relationship to the Masculine. Now here's something to do before we even start is, what has that brought up for you? Just hearing those words, your relationship to the masculine. What is it? First feel, first thoughts. First sensations in your body. Tune into that. It's powerful. So I was inspired to do this topic from a workshop that we just had last Sunday on the central coast of New South Wales in Australia. And it was a one-day workshop where we journeyed into the lover archetypes. So it was big opening to our sex energy, our love energy, and those different goddesses or archetypal energies or Shaktis, if you will, that carry those really loving, really sensual, really sexual parts of self, that energy around self. And a big topic that sometimes we overlook when doing lots of goddess practice, when working heavily in feminine practices, is the relationship that this feminine part of self and that these goddesses within has to the masculine, right? How pure and how clean and how crisp is her love, right? Because if you're coming from a fully empowered place, that love is unconditional. That love is full of compassion. That love also comes with strong boundaries. So it's not a compassionate, I will yield to you when you are operating from a less than divine masculine place, right? So if I'm talking to other, let's say, intimate relationship, let's say it's your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, and when I say unconditional love and compassion, I do not for 1 second mean that when he's operating from a space of less than divine masculine, that you roll over or that you yield to that energy. That is not what full empowerment, full love, full compassion is. It is not that. Working with dark goddess archetypes is insanely important for women. It is insanely important for helping us to create those strong boundaries, those strong, clean, clear, crisp lines, the ability to say, no, that is not acceptable to me. No, that is not sacred sex. That is not pure. That doesn't feel good to me, right? These dark goddess archetypes, and dark goddess archetypes are a part of the lover archetype as well. So when looking at them and looking at this part of self, how open are these parts of self, right? How able are you to come from a place of unconditional love, but demand the divinity in another, in the masculine, to see the divinity in the masculine, to almost tease out the divinity in the masculine. So our perceptions and the energy and the expectations that we hold for another will bring that to the surface of that other person. So have you ever had a coach or a mentor who has believed in you more than you have ever believed in yourself, right? Who has seen something in you that you didn't even see and has, in a way, been able to tease that out. I remember in 5th grade, I had a teacher and she put me in like an advanced smart kid class. And I didn't think that I belonged in the advanced smart kid group or this extracurricular thing that we did. But she did, and it brought that part of me out. That part of me would have never come out had that mentor not seen it, held it, and then teased it out. Now, how does this work with regards to the masculine? Well, it's the same. It's the same. What do you see in the masculine? What do you believe the masculine is capable of? Think about your intimate relationship or your relationship to your father, your brother, your uncle, a friend. Get real with yourself here as well. Don't bullshit yourself. That is such a waste of time, and that will just slow you down. It will hurt you in the long run. So get real and get honest, and don't be afraid of that truth. What is it that you believe of them? What do you see in them? Are you capable of seeing the divinity in your man or in your father or brother? Are you capable of seeing his raw masculine power in a healthy way? Are you capable of seeing the value behind that masculine energy, that force? Are you capable of it? Where is that within you? Where are these perceptions within you? Because I promise you, if you're looking at your husband or your boyfriend as less than everything, all you're going to see is less than everything. You're almost holding him in this box of you are less than the divine. And you're saying to yourself, I want a conscious man. This term kills me, by the way. I want a conscious man, yeah. And men want a conscious woman. How conscious are you, right? What, are we all enlightened? This is one of my little rants, and I'm going to get right off of it before I go crazy. But I suppose everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say conscious man. So there's this thing that I'm seeing in our society of, I want a conscious man. My man who I'm with is not conscious. Well, I challenge you. Can you see conscious man? Can you hold that sight? Can you hold that energy within you around conscious man? Do you believe that man is divine? That there is divine masculine, right? And this isn't just in your head. So these are those deep ingrained patterns. Have you worked through the rage? Have you worked through the grief of the abuses? Not just in this lifetime, and I'm sure that you've got some in this lifetime. I'm sure you do. Have you worked through those energetic imprints? Have you worked through the energetic imprints that have been passed down the ancestral lines? So think about your mother. Think about your grandmother. How do they view the masculine, right? What do they say? Listen to how they talk about the masculine. Do they degrade him? Do they put him down? Do they distrust him? And then reflect on yourself and past lives as well. So looking at that territory, what are the energetics that you came into this life with regards to your relationship to the masculine, right? So I know we've talked a lot about our external relationship to the masculine, and now maybe talking a bit about that internal relationship to the masculine. How well does your feminine and your masculine within you dance? So how well does your masculine serve your feminine? Meaning, let's say I get a very feminine intuitive hit about something. I have a knowing. It's not a logical knowing, but it's that deep feminine wisdom comes up. how well does your masculine then serve that deep feminine wisdom? I'm talking about manifesting here. And I know I go off about this whole manifesting and vision boards and da-da-da-da-da and why that doesn't work. And I'm not going to do that. I'm trying not to get on my soapbox today. But when we're looking at making things happen in the world, the more that our masculine and feminine are dancing and balancing each other, the more that we're going to manifest our dreams, our real dreams, our deepest desires. So for me in my life and a lot of women that I work with, oftentimes it feels as if it's the feminine part of self that taps into the soul, that taps into those deep inner intuitive knowings, right? So that's the feminine. Oftentimes doesn't have to be, I'm just giving us some reference points here, and if that doesn't sit well with you, that's okay. Then just think of it as a part of self. So there's a part of self that will tap into our soul's purpose, our deepest desires, what fulfills us. And so that gets tapped into. Now, how does your masculine side of self or part of self, meaning the part of self that does things, so here's the doer, here's the planner, here's the action, right? The man of action. How does the man of action within you serve this feminine intuition? Right? It's a brilliant question to ask yourself. Do you trust those intuitions? Right? How much do you trust that intuition? How much do you then serve that intuition? Or do you flip into logical, rational mind and talk yourself out of that very feminine, deep, wise soul conversation that the feminine has had? It's big stuff. It's really big stuff. So this looking at what is our relationship to the masculine isn't just about how well are my intimate relationships operating, how great is my sex. Those are really good telltale signs that are external to us. But on the other hand, it's how well am I operating in the world? How well am I making things happen? How aligned am I with my soul purpose? How much am I living my soul purpose? How much am I acting from a place of deep knowing and a place of deep wisdom and a place of deep intuition? So this work is huge. The work on fully opening and fully flushing out our masculine and feminine. Maybe a practice that we can do together is just a journaling exercise. It's just a journaling exercise, and it's to get into a meditative state. So it doesn't have to be a deep meditative state, but it has to be a place of relaxation. If you can dance before you do these journaling questions, do it. If you can breathe, if you can get into your body, remember all those feminine practices that we talk about. Touch is wonderful. Listening to the birds outside, nature is amazing. Movement, dance, breath, but deep breath. Exhaling out the mouth, making sound. Right? That starts to drop me in out of this crazy left brain madness and deeper into like womb space, right? My deeper part of self. And once you kind of get into that state, just really tuning in and asking yourself the question, how much do I trust the masculine? How much do I trust the masculine to take care of my feminine? Right? How much can I surrender to the masculine? Yeah? How much can I co-create with the masculine? What do I feel? How do I feel about co-creating with the masculine? And then any other questions that arise with regards to your relationship to the masculine, right? Are there any thoughts or memories that come to mind when feeling into my relationship with the masculine? Is there work to be done around that? Is there healing or letting go to be done around any of these experiences that you've had? Another question which we spoke about before was, what is my mother's relationship to the masculine? How was her relationship with my dad? What was my grandmother's relationship to my grandfather? What are the words that my society or those around me, my peers, how do they talk about men? Do they talk about the value of men or of the masculine? What's happening here? So feeling into that and really going deep, really asking yourself, what is my relationship to the masculine? We can do goddess practices all day, and we can work on self, and we can open up to the feminine, and it's delicious and it's wonderful and it's glorious. But the other component of it, the bigger component of it, not bigger, I shouldn't say bigger, the next component of it is, what is my relationship to the masculine then? When I'm fully empowered and I'm fully open to these juicy, magnificent, wonderful energies of the feminine, what is my relationship to the masculine? Yeah. And on a really high spiritual level, the feminine, is this energy that kind of rolls up. So that's the upward motion, Mother Earth, or Shakti or Kundalini energy, right? So that kind of rolls up the body and rolls out the crown. And then that then will connect with masculine energy. And the masculine energy from a really high spiritual, just purely energetic space is the grace. So it's that grace. It's Shiva, right? So in Tantric, this is Shakti and this is Shiva. How much Shiva can you allow in? How much Shiva do you trust? How much grace and pure divine masculine energy, grace, can you accept in, right? How much Father Sky can you? It's that bolt of lightning that comes straight in through the crown. How much can you let in? How much do you trust it? What is your relationship to that? Right? So looking at what is my relationship to the masculine relates to what is my relationship to men in my life? What is my relationship to this masculine kind of patriarchal Western society that we live in? Right? What is my relationship to my own manifesting abilities in this world? My inner relationship to masculine and feminine? And then finally, what is my relationship to grace itself, to that component of spirit or spirituality, right? So there's the feminine component of spirituality, and then there's the masculine component of spirituality, and what is my relationship to that? So there's these four kind of components, and I promise you, once you start doing work on a deep inner level, like we do with some of the rewilding practices and what we share in podcasts and what we do on workshops and in retreats, once you start working on this, all of those aspects of your life change. That relationship, that inner energetic relationship changes, which then changes your relationship. It changes your sex life, changes your ability to have big, wild, fantastic orgasms that everyone's talking about, right? Changes your physical ability to do that. Changes the way that you operate in the world and how much you can manifest your dreams, and changes your spirituality and your connection. So I would highly recommend really taking a look at that and starting to do some practices and find some spaces where you can start to feel into what is your relationship with the masculine. Is there healing to do? Is there opening to do? Can you trust the masculine? Can you open to the masculine? Right? Can you receive from the masculine? There's so much to receive there. There's so much beauty. There's so much raw power to receive there. Can you? How much can you? Okay, with that, I invite everyone to come to our December workshop, which we're opening to the masculine and the feminine. We've got a workshop where we're opening it up to men. So we don't do very many men and women workshops, but this one we're actually bringing some of the men in. A lot of partners are coming and a couple single men. So if you're in Australia, or even if you're not, and you want to just be crazy and come travel, I would love to dance with you, and I would love to explore this relationship on a very deep inner level. All right, if you haven't joined our newsletter, I hope that you do as well, because I share lots of insights in there that I don't share on the podcast or in the blog or really anywhere else. And if you're not a member of ReWilding for Women Facebook group, just do a little search for us, ReWilding for Women, on Facebook, and you'll see there's a private group. Just request to join that and we'll let you in. It's a great place to connect with other like-minded women, or ask questions, or suggest podcast topics. So happy to hear feedback or questions. All right, so much love to you, and I will see you in the next episode. Mwah.